welcome to today's video. Today I am doing our end of quarter 1 wrap up and end of September wrap up. Both ended this week, and so let's talk about what we've been up to. So it is the end of September. Our first quarter officially ended on September 27th. I do 4 quarters in our homeschool. We're not like required to do anything like that, but it just kind of helps me organize, plan, schedule out things. So our first quarter and like our first few months of homeschool, like I've said in all kind of our update videos, was really just focusing on our core subjects, our basics, getting my kids back in the habit after a school break. And so we've really just been doing like core type curriculum. We've been doing our math, our science, language arts. We've been trying to do history, which I'll talk about. We've been doing some reading unit studies. My kids started their co-op classes, like their session of co-op in early September. So they've been going to those classes, which I'll talk about. And all 3 of my kids are participating in like a sports type activity that also started at the beginning of September. So we went kind of easing in July and August, where my kids were kind of on break from co-op. They weren't really doing too many activities. To September, full force, pretty much every single day we have something. It's either co-op classes or activities on top of homeschool. So September has been a very busy month for us. Just because of that aspect. One thing that I started using at the beginning of this homeschool year and has made this first quarter, has made every single month amazing, is the online planner, Homeschool Planet. I've done tons of videos on it. I absolutely love it. You can try it out for an entire month for free. I think I have it linked down below in the description. It has saved me so much time. I cannot even explain how much time I used to spend on planning, and that just doesn't exist anymore. I still have to go in weekly and adjust things and move things around, but it is less than a 10-minute commitment, and that's just if something gets off track. Like this past 2 weeks, my kids started getting sick, and so normally when we get sick, it's like one at a time and like a domino effect. And so some of the shared subjects kind of got off track, and then we also had a family in town this past week, and so because there was some events that they wanted to do like on our planned school days, we had to change some stuff around. So when it comes to like that does take some time to just reschedule stuff, but again, no more than like 15 minutes at the max, and that's just because I kind of was off for like 2 full weeks. I absolutely love it. I print out like our weekly like plans, and I have our most recent week just so I can kind of share like where we're at with everything. But that has been like a total like game changer in my homeschool, and I will never go back because it is just 1000% worth it. So let's talk about some of the curriculum we've been using, if we're changing anything. I will say this is probably the first homeschool year and first like time that I'm not changing curriculum. So that's probably why I feel like I'm not making a ton of videos here on YouTube. One, we're just in a busy season of life, and that's just one main thing. But then also we're not changing things. So when everything is good, I feel like I'm just really repeating myself. Like, we use Saxon math. Nothing has changed. We really like it. And so that's maybe too why I'm not putting out so much videos, is we're very happy with most of the curriculum that we're using. So let's recap what we're using, my thoughts, updates, things like that. So like I said, both of my daughters are using Saxon Math with Nicole the Math Lady. It's an awesome math program. It's solid. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. Are there things that I would change? Sure, but I don't think there's a perfect curriculum out there. For us, this works amazing. It works having Nicole teach the lessons. I like the online portion of that. I like how it's taught. My kids are doing great in it, and so check off for sex and math. My kids are pretty good in their lessons. They're pretty much staying on track. That's like the one subject that we really don't tend to skip. So my kids are pretty good at least like if they're not feeling good or maybe we have some events planned for the day, math always gets done. So my fifth grader, and she just started in July, like this, she started her fifth grade math like on time when we started. She's on like lesson 45, so she's done about 45 lessons so far. And then my third grader, she started at the end of her second grade year using her third grade Saxon just to see if it was something that would work, and she's finishing up, I want to say like lesson 63 or something. So they're pretty good. I feel like we have a good solid start into math. And then we are doing IEW for our main like language arts portion. We started IEW structure and style last year and we kind of paused because I knew I wanted to use it this year, so we started it back up. We just wrapped up week 11 of the writing program, and so that has been going really well. I think I just made an update video on that also. I'm now seeing kind of like the progression of them writing and the progression of the program, and so we're really enjoying that. Both my girls are using Zahner Blosser handwriting. We're using grades 3 and grade 5. Both of those are cursive programs. I do like it for my older daughter because my older daughter, this is her third year doing cursive handwriting, so she knows how to form letters, she knows how to write in cursive. She really needs to perfect her writing, you know, the proper slants, making it readable, making, you know, the letters, make sure she's using the exact right letter because it can be confusing. Some letters are very close in cursive. And then also she's learning really good how to read cursive. So a big part of Zahner Blosser is being able to read cursive, and so I really like it for fifth grade. Now for third grade, I don't know, I think it's almost like a little bit too confusing or too advanced because again, it's trying to teach those curves, and I just feel like to learn cursive, they just need to learn like the basics, and I don't know, I could take it or leave it. Like, we're completing it, but I would probably say if you have a kid that's really brand new to cursive, I would probably recommend like Handwriting Without Tears or The Good and the Beautiful's handwriting. We've used both of those, and I think those are a lot better for like introductions to handwriting. But that's all I'll say about that. We're still going to keep using it. It's not awful. I think it's just a little bit more advanced, so I do like it for my fifth grader who has a stronger cursive background, we'll say. For science, we are using Apologia's Earth Science, and that has been going really well. I've done tons of videos on that. We're wrapping up lesson 6, and I want to say there's only 14 lessons altogether. The reason I chose that curriculum is because it's very activity heavy, and that's just what I wanted. As much as that can be kind of like a con, right? Because you're doing activities every lesson. My kids really enjoy it. So we only do science about 2 times a week. We don't do it every school day. The only issue that I am having is there is a year-long activity, and then there's always like little mini activities. Well, the year-long activity has kind of held us up because we're still trying to like get caught up with where we should be at in that, but then there's also all these other activities. So we have gotten ourselves, I think, caught up. We might need to do like one more thing, and then I've kind of paused us moving to the next lesson, the next unit, because there's a lot of heavy activities with that. So I think just balancing myself a little bit better, giving myself a little bit more time. That year-long project, you're building an earth, and there's a lot of painting, there's paper mache, and on paper it seems fine, the activity, but it's not accounting for, you know, multiple days of painting because you can only paint one side of the globe to let it dry before you can paint the other side, and the paper mache We had to do like an extra layer of it, and so we just got behind on that. But overall, I really like Apologia Science. It's really working for my kids. They really enjoy their lessons. We're about to jump into learning about rocks, and so one of the first activities is growing crystals, and then we're going to make like rock cookies. We're gonna see how rocks like melt together using like I think Starburst candy or something. So I know we have like a lot of fun activities coming up, and so we're excited for that. And I apologize, I did end up getting sick at the end of my kids being sick, and I feel great, but I'm still just like super stuffy. So I'm sorry if I sound weird in this video, or if I'm like stopping to breathe more often than not. So those our core subjects? Yeah, the only other core is history, and guys, I'm still struggling. I said this in my last update video, and I had intentions to get caught up and like get on a good history track, and it hasn't happened. So again, I'm gonna do an October plan video. It should come out like a day or two after this video, and I will talk more about history and my plan in that video. But all that we've done is we've read a few chapters in our Tuttle Twins history book, which I love. I love the writing of Tuttle Twins. They are great storybooks, but in my eyes, that's all it is it's a reading book, and I'm having a very hard time planning that as like curriculum. And so we are going to switch to start using our Evan Moore history pocket books, and that's what I'll talk about more in that October plans video. We read one book together as a group, which was Matilda, and we used a literature guide. I did a video on that. It wasn't our favorite. I did not enjoy that book. My kids said it was okay. And then after that, I let both of my kids pick their own individual books, and so they read those. And then now we just started reading The Magician's Nephew from C.S. Lewis, and we're doing the Memoria Press literature guide, and so far that's going great. As soon as we finish that, I will give you guys a separate update video on that. And so that is kind of the other part of our language arts, where we do like vocabulary and spelling and reading and other activities. So the only other thing that we have done this first quarter, and we just did this week, is both of my kids, my daughters, my two older daughters, I keep forgetting to talk about my pre-K-er, which I'll do his section in a second. But I got each of them these School Nest notebooks for their grade level. I thought they were a cute like first day of school. And my original idea was for them to use these to journal. I got like the little photo camera printer that prints like little mini printouts. And I was like, they could put pictures in here. They can write about their week. And they've been doing that, but I mean, we don't do it every week, I'll say. And I don't want to, I'll do like a quick flash of like what it looks like. I don't want to really share their writing. And that's been working great, but I'm like, there's no way we're going to fill up this book. So what we did this last week is I had them add some tabs to this. And so now they have vocabulary, journal, reading, history, and science. And so we're going to use these as like our all subject notebooks, our journal, and this is something that I will keep like for record keeping, because this is going to contain just like a ton of stuff. So like vocabulary is something that we're getting right now from our literature guide, and very simple. They just have their vocabulary words and some definitions. Reading, some of those literature guides again gives us like activities we need to do, a book report, things like that. History, we're going to use the Evan Moore history pockets, but we're going to use them more in like a notebooking format. And then science, we actually have the Apologia, I don't think I have them in here, notebooks that go with the curriculum, and we just don't find ourselves using them. We're just not opening them because it really is like a notebook, and a lot of times I don't feel like my kids need to do anything additional on top of like the activities. So if we feel like we need to write something down, journal, you know, do an experiment, they can keep it all in this, and then I feel like we're getting really good use out of this notebook. We did not do any additional unit studies our first quarter, and that was very intentional. I wanted us to get in a very good habit of our day-to-day flow, and we're in a great flow. For my pre-K-er, he is doing wonderful. He is doing at least like 10 to 15 minutes each school day. He's really working on his CVC words and blending sounds, and so we've been really just using like some stuff I found on Teacher Pay Teachers and the Bob books, keeping it really simple. He is using Math with Confidence Kindergarten from Kate Snow. We used the preschool program from Kate Snow, and so because he completed that, I felt very confident he could move into the kindergarten level. We are going very slow, but it's working really great. He is the type of kid that needs manipulatives, needs to be engaged in learning, and so in his program, it's always, having, like, if we're doing CVC words, I have like the magnet letters that we're always using and touching, and the math, we are always, using different stuff. It's always easy stuff around the house, but that really keeps him engaged, and so that's the approach I've had to take with him this year. So he's doing great. I'll probably do like just a separate pre-K video to share a lot of the resources. I've been sharing stuff on Sunlight for him. I think Sunlight is a wonderful program, and over the summer we used a lot of like the read alouds and books, but at the end of the day, a literature-based program that kind of intensive is not great for someone like him. He needs quick, to the point, let me touch it, let's go, and that's it. And so I was having a hard time following like the daily schedule with him. So that is why I've kind of branched off and just started using some really easy resources with him. Been such an easy homeschool year, and I just, if you're struggling, if you're like new to homeschooling, and or maybe you're not, but you're like, I don't know what curriculum to use, I want to change curriculum, I've been there. Go watch all my videos from last year or the year before. I mean, I was there, and you just have to either find what works, and that's what I feel like. There are some curriculums that I've just accepted, like this is good enough, it's fine. Yes, there could always be something new and shiny or better, but nothing's going to be perfect. And so I feel very confident that I have some things that I know are solid in our homeschool that we're probably just going to stick with, because the amount of stress and burnout is gone in our homeschool, like from me and my kids not getting frustrated, like changing stuff all the time. They know what's expected, they know what to do. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not going to introduce new things. Of course I am, but I've seen the benefit of like sticking with something and being consistent also. So I am not as quick to jump ship, I'll say, as I used to be. I do now. My mentality is, instead of changing a math curriculum, at the end of the day, math is math. I think every math curriculum out there is going to teach your kid what they need to know. I'm more confident now in switching like the unit studies, the more fun fluff type things. So if you're struggling, just know at the end of the day, like, it's not that serious, to be honest. Like, there's no perfect curriculum out there, and I'm sorry to tell you that, but there's not. You just have to find like what works best in your homeschool, and that's with any any curriculum. And there's seasons too, right? Like, there's a season like we were in 6 months ago where we were doing 3 unit studies a day, and like we were just killing it and loved it, and we were just like having so much fun. That doesn't exist right now. We're not doing any additional unit studies because it's just not the season we're in, it's not the mode we're in, and that's completely okay. So be adaptable, be willing to make changes when necessary, but don't just make changes because, I don't know, you feel like it or you saw a YouTube video. That's my advice. And it's taken me 3 years to, I think, to like be a little bit more confident and calmer in our homeschool, but I'm enjoying the feeling of feeling like good about our decisions. So that is where I'm at for the end of our first quarter, the end of September. I hope you all are getting well into your school years. I hope you're all having a great school year. If you have questions, comments, leave those down below. If you're not already, please make sure you hit that subscribe button, and thank you so much for being here.